When an act of kindness goes tragically wrong, should the Samaritan be punished? Welcome to this fourth installment of True Crime Register, where I recap and examine interesting cases from the American legal system. I do my best to relay each case accurately and in a way that does not disrespect the victims or anyone that loves them. It was July 6th, 2018. The house on Ferguson Street on the west side of Detroit, Michigan, was buzzing with the sounds of children playing. 6 children, to be exact. Running, laughing, hiding from one another, and squealing in surprise at being found. Normal summer fun. A 10-year-old girl goes down to the kitchen to make ramen noodles. Unfortunately, the electricity in the kitchen doesn't work. In order to use the stove, she has to open the door to a nearby bedroom to let some light in. The walls of the bedroom are painted blue. This is where she sleeps with her 2 sisters, a 7-year-old and 11-month-old Kamaya Davis. There is a cardboard box on the floor. The words, "Do not step on or you will fall," are written in a child's handwriting on the side of the box. The 10-year-old finds that the door to the bedroom is slightly ajar already, that the box is smashed on top, and that it's ripped on one side. It looks like somebody stepped on it. She leans into the hallway and calls out, "Who fell in the hole?" She's already had a bad experience with the hole. Her leg went through the hole not long ago while she was playing with a neighbor child, and it left her with a nasty bleeding scratch. That's why she had placed a box over it. The girl runs to tell the adult in the house, 28-year-old Tanya Peterson, that someone must have fallen through the hole. Tanya is the owner of the home. The 10-year-old's mother, Daisha Jordan, was going through some very tough times financially. Tanya was known to help Daisha and her children as much as she could, even buying them bottles and clothes, and eventually offering to let the family live in her home rent-free until the mother could get back on her feet. Upon hearing that the box was torn and that it looked like someone had fallen through the hole, Tanya started calling each of the children by name to see if anyone was missing. Suddenly, the 10-year-old stopped her. "Wait," she said. "Where's Kamaya?" Tanya and the 10-year-old went back into the blue bedroom. 2 children, a girl and a 13-year-old boy, went down to the basement. She couldn't see the entire basement through the hole. It was apparently where a vent or some sort of grate was supposed to be. She could hear the children in the basement sloshing through the lake of sewer water that had backed up and flooded it completely. When the children came back, one of them was carrying Kamaya. They laid her on the floor and a little girl attempted to do CPR. "She floated across the water," the 13-year-old said. Kamaya couldn't be revived and was pronounced deceased later that day. Both the mother, 26-year-old Daisha Jordan, and the babysitter/homeowner, 28-year-old Tanya Peterson, were charged in her death. Daisha Jordan wasn't home at the time of the incident. She had gone out to visit with friends. This house was clearly in dire need of repair and possibly a wrecking ball. The electricity didn't work in half the house, so there were extension cords everywhere in a house full of children. There had been serious plumbing problems for over a year, and the hole had been in that bedroom since 2016. The adults, when arrested, said that normally the baby's playpen covered that hole, but Tanya had moved it into the living room earlier that day. Kamaya had fallen asleep in it and hadn't been awake for too long when she fell through the hole. The only person with a drop of sense in the house was a 10-year-old who at least tried to do something to cover the hole, but the box wasn't enough. She had a 10-year-old's logic, which is, of course, what we would expect. This case was resolved quickly. Daisha Jordan was charged with second-degree child abuse and involuntary manslaughter. The state's theory was simple. She left her child in a death trap of a house and the girl died due to her neglect. As for the babysitter, she was charged with involuntary manslaughter. Daisha Jordan struck a plea deal that gave her just 1 year of jail time plus 4 years of probation. Initially, her attorney had sought a deal that would have no jail time, but she was classified as an habitual offender due to previous felonies. Tanya Peterson pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and on April 9, 2019, she was given a sentence of 17 months to 15 years in prison. Some of the surviving children were placed with relatives and some went into the foster care system. At sentencing, Judge Wanda Evans said that she'd received several letters in support of Tanya Peterson. People said that she had a good heart, that she loved the children and had been spending her own money to help the family for years. I'm sure those things are true. But if these women had money for wigs, they certainly had money to buy a single piece of wood to nail over that hole. You don't even have to buy wood. You can walk around behind a grocery store and find broken crates and slats of wood for free. Was there a heavy dresser or maybe some sort of chest that could have been used to cover the hole? And why were all these people, 3 adults and 6 children, living in a place without proper sewage? It must have smelled like a gas station bathroom all throughout that house. No one is blaming these women for being poor. I don't know what happened in their lives that led to all of this, but it was the adult's responsibility to make that hovel as child-proof as possible instead of being out kicking it with friends. Your friends will be fine. I'm sure they didn't have a hole in their floor and a lake of pissy water in their basement. I also think that the prosecution in this case was selective and inadequate because warrants should have been issued for the so-called fathers of these children as well. It's just as much their fault that the children live under these conditions. Tanya Peterson's plight can serve as a reminder to all of us that we need to first help ourselves before trying to go solve other people's problems. For at least 2 years, she had been living in a house that was literally falling apart. It wasn't safe for adults, let alone a barely walking baby. So many of us are tender-hearted, and we can't stand to see others going through hard times. But we need to remember what we're taught on airplanes. First, put on your own mask, and then assist others. Make sure you have a toilet that flushes properly and that the holes in your floor are patched before you go offering shelter to other people. Sad case all around. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. Join me next time for another True Crime Register. Thanks so much for dropping by. Good night.